The next thing that I want to talk about, I'm just going to top line it here, and I'll come back to it and revisit it again. And one of the things that is quite important for you to do if you're trying to monetize the value of the traffic on your website is to actually set up goals and to set up funnels. And this is one of the things that people go, oh, that sounds really difficult. And if you go into the interface, it does look very difficult. Google haven't made it look as friendly as it could have been. Now, goals are going to allow you to actually measure when people perform certain actions, when certain criteria are met on the website. So, for example, one of your goals might be that users have actually requested a brochure from you, or one of your goals might be that somebody has actually bought something from you. So, if you have a look at the types of services that you offer on your website, have a think to yourself for a second, what are they? Are you trying to get people to ring you? That might be a goal. Somebody actually phones us, it's a goal. It's hard to measure unless you put your telephone number on a specific page and then require some interaction for them to actually get that telephone number. Do you want them to contact you via the website? Do you want them to buy something from you? Do you want them to download a specific PDF? Do you want them to watch a specific video? All of those sort of things we can track in Google Analytics, and we can set them up as goals. Now, each of those goals, you might have 4 or 5 goals for your website. Each of those goals could have a monetary value associated with it. So for 100 people downloading a PDF and 10 sales being worth £100, 100 people downloading a PDF, each PDF download is worth £1 to us. So I can kind of associate a value for a specific action happening on my website. So we can actually say, well, if somebody's downloading this PDF, the goal has a value of £1. So I can set up my goals and I can set values on them, monetary values. It's not a weighting, it's not a percentage, it's actually a monetary value, which means that based on all of the goals that might be achieved on the website, eventually I can actually figure out, I should be able to figure out what is the monetary value of all of this traffic that's happened on the website when these goals have been achieved. So finding out what your goals are, that's probably the most difficult thing. Then you go into Google Analytics. Once again, get your website, find your website. You might have one website in there, you might have a couple of websites that you're maintaining in there. Click on Edit, and you can go into the edit page, the settings page, and one of the options in there, in the goals section, is to actually add a goal. Now, you can add a maximum of 20 goals. Those 20 goals are divided into 4 sets. So you can say, for example, well, I've got goals to do with PDFs, I've got goals to do with purchases, I've got goals to do with the contact form, and you can put them into different sets, and you can measure up to 5 things about those different sets. There's 20 goals in total that you can set up. What you do, first thing you do, is you set up what is your goal name. So you go say, well, my goal is to get somebody to contact us. So the goal name would obviously be contact us. And you can activate and deactivate your goals as you go. You can put them into different sets, so you can change them in the sets in different sets. So if you've set it up in one set and you want to move it to another set, you can do that as well. And then what you do is you decide, this is the most important thing, decide what type of goal it is. Now, there are 3 types of goals. There are page-based goals, so URL destination. In other words, if somebody reaches a specific page, I can count that as a goal. So Graham's question is, right, if I want to measure contacts, somebody actually contacts us through the website, that's the goal for me. What I'll do is I'll usually have a thank you for contacting us page. So they'll fill in their details, press submit, that will then submit the information to us, and then it will redirect the user usually to a thank you page. Or it might be to the same page but with a message, some kind of alternative URL. But we can take the URL of the thank you page and we can put it in as a goal. So if I'm actually wanting to measure somebody arriving on a page, I can select URL destination as my goal type. I can also do that for things like PDFs and events. So for example, if somebody is if you're wanting to measure PDF downloads, or if you're wanting to measure video plays, you'll have to set up event tracking, which is a little bit more complicated. I'll show you a very quick overview on how to do that. You have to set up event tracking, but once you've set up event tracking, you can then use those as goals, as URL goals as well. So you'll set up your URL destination for an event, and you'll put in, I want to set a URL destination goal, so I'll be tracking when people hit certain pages. The other 2 types of goals are time on the site and pages visited. Those are pretty straightforward, but the amount of time that you spend on a website might be of value. So if I have people that are spending 10 minutes on my website, that has a specific value to me. It might mean that every time somebody spends 10 minutes on my website, they might be actually convinced of my product and they might end up buying. So the amount of time that somebody spends on my website might be of monetary value to you, might be of one of your goals that you want to set up. And then obviously this page is visited. If, once again, just like the same with time on site, the number of pages is important to you, you can set up a goal as a specific number of pages. You've got 20 individual booking forms or purchase forms, order forms, then what you would do is actually every single one of those pages, you select head match and you put in all of those pages and you put a value. See here we have goal value, monetary value against those booking pages. But you don't want to do the booking form, you want to do the page that appears once they have actually come out of the booking form.
So
you need 20,
opens in a new window.
Thank you pages.
Yeah. You can use event tracking to monetize a click. So it doesn't matter what the click does, the result of the click. So the click might be a play a video, and you might say, well, playing a video is worth 10 pence, pausing the video is worth 5 pence, whatever. Okay, so you can actually monetize every single click if you start to use event tracking on the site. So it doesn't matter what the click does. It could download a PDF. You can then monetize it. So Jonathan's made a very good point there. You don't have to put a monetary value in there. You could actually put in there, it does say optional, but you can actually put in there a relative value. So you could say, well, a PDF download is worth half as much generally as somebody actually contacting us through the contact form. So you could say contact is worth 5 points and a PDF download is worth 2 points or 3 points. If the URL is dynamic, you can actually put in a dynamic URL, the whole URL, or you can drop the match down. Let's see if I can, and I'm just going to go into add goals. You can do a exact match for the exact page. You can do a head match, which is just the front page, the front part of the page, and then the query string on the end doesn't matter. So it can leave that off. And then you can also go in and you can do a regular expression match. So you can write a regular expression to actually match certain certain keys in the query string, so certain variables or values in the query string. So you can say if the ID of X appears, then I want to record this as a goal. If it doesn't appear, then I don't want to record it as a goal. Anything that's being generated by a scripting language like PHP or ASP, so a service database-driven content, yeah, database-driven websites. Once you have a goal or two, okay, so let's say, for example, getting to your contact form is one of your goals, or selling a product is one of your goals. What you can set up as well as a goal, so once again, if you're not got everything else on your website optimized, you might want to wait for this. What you can also set up is a funnel. So once you know what your goal is, you can actually set up a funnel, which is basically a path that leads to that goal. So I can say, well, and I'll tell you why that's important. I can say, well, I want the user to, as an ideal funnel, I want them to arrive on the home page. I then want them to go to a products page. I then want them to add a product to the basket. I then want them to log in and give me their details. And I then want them to put in their credit card details and pay. And I then want them to have paid for the product, have basically received an invoice or have got a confirmation that the order's been placed. That is my ideal path. I can set up those pages. I can type those pages in to a funnel, and I can put in as many steps as I like. Basically say, add a goal, add a step, add a step, add a step, and I can type in the pages. Now it might be 3 or 4 paths, so you might set up 3 or 4 funnels to the same goal. So on our website, usually you arrive on a course page because you come through Google, you arrive on a course page. Most of our visitors come from Google, arrive on a course page. You then, a lot of the time, people go back to the home page, then they go to the About Us page. But my ideal path for them is to actually go from the course page to go, oh, this is a fantastic course, book it, booking form, thank you. So that's kind of a three-page step that I want them to do. A funnel will allow me to actually find out where users are falling.